Yeah, I know a lot about.
Okay, so what are your views on gun control?
Well, I think that gun control needs to be a little bit deregulated because I believe more that I think that everyone should be able to have their own guns, and I feel like it shouldn't be limited to government officials. I think that everyone should be entitled to a right to bear arms.
What would you say about the people who have guns illegally? Don't we need to regulate them?
How? The question is, how would you regulate them? Like, there's going to be crime anywhere. There's no way to stop crime. Someone's always going to get the drugs. Someone's always going to get the guns. There's no way to we can try to deregulate it, but there's always going to be a market for illegal guns. So I think that by allowing normal citizens who can get guns legally, the access to do so will allow them for further protection.
What about all the people who get shot? Like school shootings and gun crimes?
I would say that a lot of those gun crimes are due to people getting illegal guns. Therefore, I think that's going back to the second question you asked me. It's like, if we can somehow limit maybe gun imports coming from other countries or things such as that, then maybe it would be a good idea. Maybe that can prevent school shootings and everything. But other than that, I think that gun violence, I know it's rising, but I think it's inevitable, especially in our market, especially with everything that's going on in our country right now. I think that gun violence is kind of like a result of some of the things that are going on. So I think that I think that. What was the question?
School shootings and just shootings in general.
Yeah, okay. I think they're just a result from that. So I think that in order to address that problem, I think that we need to first address the bigger problems, such as equality and equal rights and stuff like that everyone is against so far, or we have a conflict with right now.
So what about background checks? Do you think that we should continue to have background checks to buy guns?
Absolutely. I think that's a really good idea because I feel like people who have felonies on their record should not be allowed to get guns because I think it poses too great a risk. I feel like you should undergo a psychological test or a psychological assessment to ensure that you are still mentally stable to actually carry a gun. I believe that mental illness may be a possible underlying reason as to school shootings, in addition to external factors such as bullying and home problems. So I think that mental assessments need to be made for everyone in addition to background checks.
So you're also an advocate then to fix the gun loophole, where if you buy a gun from a private party, you don't need a background check?
Yes. I think that private party gun selling is good, but I think that it should be with guns that are maybe antique or can't be shot. The only reason I say that is because private markets are promoting the use of selling guns illegally, use of selling guns illegally, and I think that it would be easier to require a background check for every gun sold.
So do you think that we should ban certain types of guns, like automatic weapons, or do you think that those should all be legal?
I think that banning them would be a good idea. So, like assault rifles, yes, I think they should be banned because I think that they pose too great a risk for the community. I think that protection can be sought in less powerful guns or less powerful guns, because I feel like assault rifles create confidence in the people who have them and fear in the people who don't have them. So everyone would want them, and then therefore I feel like it's a bigger risk by having them.
So do you believe that everyone should go through a gun safety class before they get a gun?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Because right now, not everyone is required to go through a gun safety class.
Really? I don't agree with that at all. I think that everyone should have some background of the guns before they can actually get one in their hands. And then, in addition to the gun safety class, that would be also the time to actually get to hold a gun, learn how to clean a gun, learn how to arm and disarm a gun, and things such as that, because I think that learning and getting the exposure to do that in a safe, secure setting before you get an actual gun will allow people to learn easier and quicker and in a safer way to have them and to store them. Because I've taken a hunter safety class before and I learned how to store guns. I think that if hunter safety classes also provide ways to store guns, then I think it could prevent a lot of the accidental deaths due to guns, such as kids getting in the gun cabinets and accidentally shooting themselves, things like that. I think that could be all prevented if people are fully informed of how to deal with guns.
So, how when you're in elementary school, you go through classes like train safety, car safety. Do you think that there should be a day where they just go over what to do if you find a gun, or
I think at this day and age, yeah. I don't think that real guns should be present, or I think that dummy guns should be used, but I think that by the U.S. public education system, by not exposing any of the kids to guns, they don't know what to do if they ever encounter one. Therefore, it creates more risk as to what they can do with it, because they don't know how to deal with it. So yes, I agree.
Do you think that there should be any laws for parents who have guns in the home when there's kids present? I think there should be any laws for that.
I don't think they should be directed towards parents. I think they should be directed towards anyone with guns. If you have guns, you have an obligation to secure them when you're not using them. Therefore, to prevent any intruders that could get them or anything like that, I think it wouldn't just apply to people with kids. It should apply to people with anything. Even if you don't have kids, you should be able to. You should have the mental capacity to lock up a gun, unloaded, in a case that cannot be accessible easily.
Okay, do you think that there should be any limit on the amount of guns people can own?
No, I don't think so. Because if you pass a background check and everything, and you go through the mental assessment, then I think that a reasonable person should be able to make reasonable decisions about how many guns to own. Therefore, if they are adequate both mentally and criminally to have guns, then I think that they can make their own decisions as to how many guns they should have.
So you mentioned the background check a lot. When you have to get a background check for a gun, should it be required for every gun you buy, or should it be a background check for and it's good for a year? So if you buy more than one gun in a year, or should it be every single time you buy a gun?
I would say maybe every 6 months. I think that a year may be too long, because I feel like a lot can happen in a year. 6 months, a lot can happen in 6 months, for instance. But I think that every 6 months background check, if you're going to continue buying guns, it would be a good idea to maintain the fact, so everyone knows that, hey, you haven't committed any crimes. If you have committed any crimes, we can seize your guns, and we can take away the guns that you have, so we know that you shouldn't be having them anymore.
Okay, one sec. We'll wait for a minute. Pass the next one. Okay, so now this isn't really gun related, but it's similar. The government is working on banning tannerite and other things like that. Do you think that should be something that they can do?
Banning what?
Tannerite. It's a low-level explosive.
I mean, I don't really see. The way I see it, I don't know. Haven't really thought about small explosives, just because I think that if you're going to start banning stuff like that, that's starting to give too much power to the government. That's what I think. Because I think that either way, if you're going to start banning that stuff, people can find that kind of stuff anyways. People can make their own explosives using at-home cleaning products. And so I think that if you're going to start banning stuff, that I think that the government would just get control happy and would start banning a lot of stuff that would cause a lot of problems for the U.S., which would eventually lead to a riot or a revolution.
Do you think that there should be any limit on the amount of ammo you can own?
You can own ammo? No, I don't think so. I think that you know, like I said before, with how many guns you can own, if you have the mental capacity to actually own a gun and you pass a background check, then it's reasonable to assume that you would know what to do with that much ammo. I mean, I guess that we should live on the government knowing that, with the assumption that people are stupid, because that's what we do, hence lawyers and everything like that. I think that maybe, essentially, it would be a good idea to look at, but I think that people would be too unhappy with the fact that they can't buy as much ammo as they want.
Okay, so then, do you think that, I mean, hunter safety, you can go through and you can start hunting when you're really young. Do you think that should maybe be raised to prevent any accidents happening?
No, because I took hunter safety class the youngest I could, and I was 12, I believe. And I think that the younger you are, the more you learn about guns, the more you respect them, and the more you understand the severity of what would happen if you mishandled one. So I think that the younger the better, honestly. Which is reasonable, I guess. Like, if you don't have a mental capacity to like make reasonable processing, like thinking, then you shouldn't handle a gun. But if you are like around the age of 12, like I was when I took hunter safety class, I think that you are old enough to know the risks and the benefits of having a gun.
Okay, well, so in Japan recently, they have really strict gun laws, and they only had 4 deaths due to guns in the last year. We've had thousands. So do you think that maybe we should model our things more off Japan so we have less guns? Or do you think that's unrealistic for a country like us?
I think that's unrealistic for a country like us. Considering it's actually in our constitution that we have a right to bear arms, I think it would create a lot of problems with the part of the country that believes they have a right to it. And I think that they should have a right to it. And even though Japan has less deaths, Japan also has a completely different structure than the U.S.
So the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms in a militia, but we no longer have a militia. So do you think it's still do you think that should still apply to us, even though
right to bear arms in militia, as if we were like be drafted, we would have our own guns?
Well, because when our country started, we had a militia instead of the military. So like the militia like just kind of rose up and they would go out and fight, and so the right to bear arms actually was relating to the militia, and that they had the right to bear arms so they could go and fight the enemies before we had a formal military.
There's also an interpretation of the right to bear arms to fight against tyranny of their own government. Therefore, it was also believed that the whole point of the right to bear arms was to fight against tyranny within your own country. So if your government is being corrupted, the right to bear arms is to protect the country against them, to go up against your government if it's tyranny.
Hopefully you can hear us on this. I didn't even think you did a test run.
I hope so too.
Okay, so you're saying that, if the country's in tyranny, but you could interpret that as the country's in tyranny now with all that's going on, so then should people be allowed to raise arms against other people in our country?
I mean, I personally agree with it, but that's what the Constitution is built for. I would say, I don't know. Now we're just kind of getting into the politics of the U.S. compared to guns, but I don't know. I kind of think that the media is portraying the government to look good when there's been evidence and releases about several things that the U.S. government is doing that's against the Constitution. Like the NSA having access to all electronics and cameras to actually spy on us and other countries. So the NSA is being investigated by other countries because of the leak that Edward Snowden leaked when he was in Hong Kong. And so, I just think that, this could sound really bad, but maybe it is needed.
Okay, so kind of going back to the gun issue,
okay,
because we're getting a little into politics. There are some people who have gun safes in their cars, underneath the seat, it's custom made. Do you think that there should be any regulations against being able to carry, conceive and carry guns in cars, that kind of thing?
Concealed carry, no. But I think that there should be maybe a regulation or an ordinance that like states that guns cannot be loaded and ammo cannot be stored in the same location as the gun. Therefore, if you have a gun case underneath your seat, then ammo should be stored somewhere else in the cab, but not in there. You know, like maybe there's a different seat that ammo can be stored underneath. Like, I just don't think they should be stored together.
Okay, and then my last question is: so, do you think people should be required to have a gun safe if they own guns and ammo to like protect against fire damage, people getting in, like kids getting in?
Yeah. That's part of the when I talked about that's part of when I talked about how gun safety. Learning how to store them. I think that having a gun safe or something similar to a gun safe that would prevent a gun firing, would prevent like external like damage. I think that should be required. Like if you have enough money to buy all these guns, then you should have enough money to buy a safe. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well thank you.
You're welcome.